There's only one chance to make a good first impression, and that first impression has to do a lot of things. At the end of our first scene, we need to know enough about a character to be intrigued, and of course, you can still have a little mystery about them remaining, but your audience needs to know what's going on, and what to stay the rest of the runtime for. But of course, there are things you don't want to do.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. To the outside world, I'm an ordinary forensic scientist, but secretly, with the help of my friends at Star Labs, I fight crime and find other metahumans like me. I hunted down the man who killed my mother, but in doing so, I opened up our world to new threats. And I am the only one fast enough to stop them. I am the Flash.
Like that. See, the main purpose of an introduction is to introduce the character, and if the character you're introducing isn't the type to monologue about themselves, then you best not, especially if they never do it again. Same thing goes for stylistic introductions.
The tabloids call him Captain Boomerang.
Of course, there are visual shorthands we use to say hero or villain, but keep it consistent with the rest of the film. So what does a good character introduction look like? V for Vendetta has a brilliant entrance for this reason. It turns the terrible trope of an introductory monologue on its head.
I can assure you I mean you no harm.
Who are you?
Who? Who is but the form following the function of what, and what I am is a man in a mask.
Well, I can see that.
Of course you can. I'm not questioning your powers of observation. I'm merely remarking upon the paradox of asking a masked man who he is.
Oh, right.
But on this most auspicious of nights, permit me then, in lieu of the more commonplace sobriquet, to suggest the character of this dramatis persona. Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta, held as a votive not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vichyssoise of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Instead of using a voiceover, V is introduced through a straight monologue. Now, this works because what V is saying is just as important as how he says it. V is unhinged, philosophical, very intelligent, and hyper-self-aware. All of that is showcased in this moment. The word choice, especially, with the repetition of V words, screams that something is off, letting us believe that V is insane. Not only that, but V's use of those words also indicates intelligence. See, we the audience correlate vocabulary with brains. And finally, the fact that V is speaking this monologue as opposed to voiceovering it gives us the last bit of character development. It lets us know V is a showman.
Our story begins
the type of person to wax poetic about his role in the world. All of these traits are then backed up by V's actions later in the film. This monologue is both in character and in service to the character, which is what makes it a great introduction, unlike a forced voiceover that is in service only to the audience.